Welcome back to another episode of Cantina Chronicles. If you're joining us, we are having our last drinks, our final drinks on Pabu before we go into hiding from the Empire.
Yeah. Our next drinks are going to be in a cavern.
Yeah,
season 3, episodes 8 and 9.
Yeah.
But first, we
Let's jump ahead, but
news.
Pabu's toast. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
Oh gosh, Adam, always with the like edgelord beginning here. Super sorry we missed last week. It happens, things happen. This
People
is
get
probably
sick.
not going to become a weekly podcast, but things happen. It's funny you say that, Adam. You're like, people get sick. No one gets sick in the galaxy far, far away. Did you notice that?
That's true. There's very rarely a cold. Like, you ever seen
Yeah,
Jenny with
There
colds?
are
I'm pretty
there
sure
are a few,
like
disease viruses and things, contagions named in the books, but yeah.
really okay, like because I feel like Bacta kind of
carbon
like
sickness.
solved the cold,
I guess that's true, right? Because wouldn't you think everyone would be sick because you're intermingling like people from different planets
Oh.
constantly? Like
Yeah.
that's what wiped out. Like anytime the Europeans would come to any culture they didn't know, half of them would die from just being exposed to new illnesses and bugs. So I'm like, why isn't the universe? Oh man, I just like thought of a new sci-fi thing where basically
Right.
like, everyone just dies. Like
The
everyone,
intergalactic flu.
yeah, the second we start intergalactic travel, like everyone's dead. Everyone dies. Like we wiped out the entire galaxy through intergalactic
Yeah,
travel. Just
it's
because of
like,
illnesses.
oops, I got alien face AIDS, and then like your face falls off, and
All right, illnesses in Star Wars: blood burn, carbon sickness.
carbon
Yeah, but
sickness.
that's not like-
I was
but
thinking
that's
of
not
carbon
like-
sick-
trans. That's not like
Sorry, what else you got
catchable.
there?
Yeah,
what
we
else
got-
you got, Grant?
Schilmer's syndrome.
That sounds fake.
syndrome
That's
sounds
in one
like
of the
that.
books.
Syndrome sounds like that is something you get like that's genetic or built in. Like I want contagions. What you got for contagions?
Blood burn is the only one I'm seeing here.
Blood burn.
Blood burn.
All right, don't
That might
know
be
what that
enough.
is.
Yeah, I don't know if I need blood burn in my life at all. Anyways, we're here. It's great. We missed a couple of big weeks. 2 amazing episodes of Bad Batch that we'll get to in the later second half of the segment of the episode, rather. And the first thing we want to talk about is this trailer that we actually were like, "Where is that trailer?" The last time we talked to you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
like
it was
3
pressing
days
for us. We
later,
were like, there's got to be a trailer soon, right?
Yeah.
like June. around summer,
I
maybe?
appreciate
Summer release?
Kathy, obviously one of our favorite listeners, was like, "Oh, right, the trailer. Let's get that out." Like I imagine that's how.
Not only did they put out a trailer, it was quite possibly one of the best Star Wars trailers I've seen for
Yes.
a live action.
It's
series
really
thus
good.
far.
It does exactly what you want out of a trailer. It like tells you nothing but hints at everything.
Yeah, exactly. We got Vernestra Rowe up in there, which was cool. We knew she was going to be in there. We meet our main cast. We meet perhaps the acolyte. Yeah, it was beautiful. There's been a million things. We're obviously 2 weeks late to this trailer. You've probably listened to a million things about it at this point, but just fantastic to finally get it. It looks
Lee Jung Jae just crushing.
Seedmaster Soul,
Carrie Ann Moss. Oh,
Carrie Ann
Incredible.
Moss, I know.
Jedi Indara.
How's Carrie Ann Moss not been in a Star Wars yet?
yeah,
Right.
She just sells like powers, like science fiction, fantasy powers so well. Like anyone who does those kind of scenes can be so difficult for actors, given that they're used to playing against other actors and people and playing into emotion. And this is just like kind of believing in a mystical energy, and Matrix is just a testament to her ability to do that. And then this footage was just like astoundingly good because of that sort of experience that she has, and then also what she can bring to the table.
Yeah. Say whatever you want about the last Matrix film, Resurrection. Is that what
I think
it's
it was
called?
maybe.
Directions. Yeah, I don't know.
Does anyone remember that movie? Anyway, that's that weird. That's a weird pandemic one.
No.
Oh yeah, that was a pandemic occurrence
Revolutions-
that everyone
Yeah.
buried.
But I remember watching
that-
it and like, apart from everything, like every time she was on screen, I was just like, yep, now I'm tuned back in. Like now I'm dialed back in. And I love Keanu in those movies, but she just had that. She was dialed in, like you said, to that what exactly that movie was. Like she totally got what she was supposed to be doing in that movie. Yeah. I was gonna say too that Carly and I watched this together, and she is super on board for it because she's like, so what do I need to know? I'm like, 100 years before prequels, the
Yeah.
end. Like
Yeah.
she's like, oh, that's great. Like, and she really liked the first half of Ahsoka because she felt like I actually didn't need to know a lot
Yeah.
of that stuff. And then the second half of Ahsoka really starts leaning in towards knowing about Rebels, right? So it's like second half of that season was a lot of pausing to be like, and then this
Right.
happened, and then that person, and with this, I'm like, I don't think you need to have anything going in. Like, there's gonna be little nuggets for us,
Yeah.
but
I do think this is going to be a summation piece for the High Republic for people that didn't read the High Republic.
yeah, I want to make a bet on air.
All right.
Sure.
I bet you we hear Nihil exactly 0 times in this series.
I don't know. I think we get it once
I
at least.
bet you hear it once at least.
Vernestra's
just
gonna.
like Ben
That's
said.
my bet.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be a wink and a nod to the High Republic people. Like Vernestra's just like, no, I've seen some stuff, because what I really
Yeah.
would like this discussion to be about is the interview with Leslie Headland that I think it was StarWars.com
Yeah, let's
did.
do it.
Talking about like how, creating this thing and what are her influences and who are her mentors and, what's her background, because we haven't really got this in depth about her, before. But, I think there's a lot in there that's going to talk about this, but I think she's, it's on StarWars.com. If you haven't read it, I suggest you read it. It was the best read I've had of 2024 as far as Star Wars lore. There's a million like great nuggets, but like to this point, I think she was like, like there's always Star Wars has been about like the rebels versus the establishment, but in this piece, the Jedi are the establishment, and that is wild,
Yeah.
but that's also kind of. I don't know.
They're functioning almost as the empire. They're like the major
Yeah.
institution,
Yeah.
the authoritarian institution is sort of safeguarding the Republic and thus creating obstacles, checkpoints, things like that for people in the galaxy.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that they're bad or corrupt or anything like that. It just means like it makes sense why you would at this time period invert your focus to the Sith,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're doing the Star Wars storytelling, you have to talk about the rebels or the smaller group of people fighting the larger thing in power. So it just makes a ton of sense.
I mean, we have to assume that the Jedi finally vanquish the Nihil, even though we haven't gotten there yet in the High Republic. But, and so maybe they are a little high on their horse after that. Probably a little bit humbled. They should be humbled because they are humbled right now in the High Republic. But they are the dominant force in the galaxy, and maybe enough times passed that, there are some, there's some teenagers that are angsty and they need to rebel against the establishment, and that's what it is. It's the Jedi rule, attacked. I can't even talk.
Right, but they're looking a little closer to prequel era Jedi than High Republic in some ways, because like the first scene we open up on is they're in Coruscant, they're in the Jedi Temple in Coruscant training younglings, right? Which is super prequel feels, right? This idea that we've collapsed ranks back to the the center of the galaxy, or the economic center of the galaxy.
Yeah, it also gave like Rise of the Red Blade feels like, one youngling was like, what do you see? And like one's like balance and one's like light, and then one's like fire. And that that's very much Rise of the Red Blade. It's like, well, what do I do with these emotions now that I'm feeling them? Who's here to help me?
Yeah.
Who's here to shepherd me? Like, what's going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And that might tie into sort of the acolyte in that character and the journey that someone's going on as someone who's with the dark side, and sort of learning from someone in the dark side of the Force, and sort of what that unlocks with your emotions, or what emotions you have going into that, and why that's a path for you, and things like that. That stuff's so interesting that we kind of don't explore it with any nuance in Star Wars. It's a lot of like, they immediately fall to the dark side, they're immediately a Dark Lord archetype, and it doesn't really get into the emotional kind of capacities and spectrum of emotion and stuff that I think talked about the Jedi,
Or
what I mean? But
or the
Yes,
seduction of the dark side, right? That part's always been talked
Mhm.
about in the movies, but like I want to, and I don't mean sexual, but
Right.
like I want to see a seduction, right? Like I
Yeah.
want to see why the dark side is so seducing in a longer
Right. I
form
mean,
thing.
in based on this and based on Rise of the Red Blade, it's like something that comes from internally. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this is what feels natural to me. So why am I supposed to resist it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff like that. There's this article's so great. I'm going to just read one paragraph if that's okay, from this thing because it sums up pretty much how I feel about Star Wars. So like, I guess the imright.com click, this worked for me, but this is what it is. This is Leslie Headland. So, the creator of the newest Star Wars live action series first discovered the galaxy far, far away as a teenager, watching the special editions on the big screen and immersing yourself in the expanded universe of books like Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, which we just reviewed a month ago, I think. I think it just meant so much to me because it was a place to live, a place to escape to, Headland says. Not just the media, but George Lucas had given you enough signposts that it's almost like Narnia. You could just go into the Star Wars galaxy and live there. And then you just have to come out of the wardrobe at some point and go to class. And like, that's why I love this podcast so much, because I get to go into the proverbial wardrobe with you guys and like, just be in the galaxy and just talk about the galaxy and then think about the space and flesh out the space with our conjoined minds, and it's so fun.
No, agreed. Like as a similar as a kid who escaped into books constantly, like I still have I have three memories of escaping into books, and those book is Narnia. When I was younger, I remember reading Narnia and really just being engrossed by that and feeling like I was there, and I didn't. And the second was reading reading The Gunslinger in fifth grade.
That was a big one for me, though I think I was like 14, but okay.
That's the better age to read it, but I was fifth grade, no, seventh grade.
Okay.
It wasn't quite fifth grade, seventh grade, a little better, but still. And then the third is, and I've talked about in this book, is literally reading Heir to the Empire in the back of the car going to on vacation, and that scene where I can still remember, we read it, and I can remember the scene where Luke has to use his robot hand to break out of the jail cell.
Yeah.
And like this moment of just expanding the universe of like, oh my God, that's right. He has a bionic hand and he can use that as a tool. Like just this like mind blowing. Oh, you can expand right on the things in the films. Anyway, so I love that quote because I can completely relate to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's incredible. I had a very similar experience with Zahn's Outbound Flight when I read that book for the first time. I was just lost in that book. And Zahn has that effect. I think a lot of his writing is just so good. When you're young, you're kind of like blown away by the detail.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm not seeing in this article, but I remember reading the first time, or it might have been a different article, was that Leslie Headland has talked a lot with Rian Johnson. Grant?
Whoa! Whoa! Why is that directed to my?
Oh, no reason. Just I don't know. But no, like she says, like she's really leaned on Rian as a mentor in going into the galaxy far, far away. And I thought that was really cool. And I mean, she's, the title of this article is like whatever you think the series is going to be, it's not. Or whatever you think the Acolyte is, it's not.
We heard a very similar statement from our guy
Ryan,
RJ,
yeah,
for TLJ, yeah,
right. And it was like that was almost his like
very exciting, yeah,
conceit.
Yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, at the very end of this trailer, we do see a hand catching a red lightsaber. I think this is the nugget that I think a lot of us want to maybe discuss because I think this will be where the major sort of lore expansion comes with this story.
Yeah.
Who is this character? Who is this Dark Lord archetype in this story? What nuance do they bring? What commentary do they bring to the story? And sort of, is it going to be canonical, or is it going to be kind of recontextualize canon and sort of explore maybe new avenues rather than sort of play into legacy novels, play into sort of like typical sort of Dark Lords conspiring to take over stuff, and more of just like dealing with emotion, dealing with the binary of the Force and the yin and yang of it all, and the kind of spectrum of emotion like we talked about earlier, and sort of the ambiguity and sort of the exploration of the self and the journey of the self and stuff like that that The Last Jedi does so well, honestly, like in such a great way. Fundamentally, is sort of like activating yourself, this sort of coming of age, this sort of mythological hero's journey sort of stuff that I think Ryan did so well in his movie that I think she's going to capitalize on in this and sort of explore Star Wars and deconstruct it in a major way and comment on the Jedi. Maybe it's sort of critical commentary on the Jedi in terms of them, taking young children, indoctrinating them into this religion, and then sort of like uh, making a sort of community that's devoid of attachment, which is so dangerous, honestly, and so strange that is sort of part of their dogma. And I think that will be something that maybe is explored. And then also what happens with trauma, tragedy, all that sort of stuff within the Jedi ranks. This girl saying fire in the beginning of the trailer. What does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
what do we do when people are suffering or struggling? They need sort of maybe it's about. It could just really be about mental health, honestly, in a major way. I think really this might just be about mental health, honestly. This journey, and that's huge.
Which is
yeah.
We haven't gotten something like that before,
Right.
and that's an avenue that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking about this last scene with the red saber that we see, and I had a thought, and then Jason just commented online.
Yeah.
Just
Wait, can I say my theory before we go? We don't.
Yeah.
We can't. Okay. My theory is that, for all the legacy, legends heads out there, like we all know that there's Darth Plagueis. That this is a name we've all heard. I mean, except for Lawrence Kasdan, but we've all heard this name. I don't know this character, but this was supposedly the character that trained Palpatine in what you could think of as the legends or the canon, the old canon, essentially. And then there's also he has a master that's illustrated and depicted pretty heavily in the books as well.
Yeah.
And I just think those two characters are just a tad bit like goofy, almost like those two characters just the kind of the eye line for Darth Plagueis would be hard to do cinematically with motion picture language, given he's so tall. Like it'd be like almost like Kaminoan sort of situation where it would feel otherworldly and scary. And then Darth Tenebris is a Bith, and we know the only Biths we've seen thus far have been musicians, and it would be a fun sort of like depiction of a Bith in a new way. But at the same time, like
it'd be a tough pill to swallow.
Kind of a comical kind of like insectoid like appearance. And I'm just thinking if we really want to recanonize the Sith in a fun way, I think it might, and also be able to investigate the exact same threads that Rian Johnson was investigating, which is sort of like bloodlines and legacy and lineage, and if that makes you powerful, or if you can be someone from nowhere, and if you can be powerful no matter what your backstory is, or where your origin happens to be. But and you make this character a Sith, like the actual Sith species from the old legends, from the Dark Horse comics, from the Tales of the Jedi comics, from the SWTOR games, from like you've seen these characters all over the place. They're kind of been written out of history, written out of the new canon. I think there's one I think you see one in the comics, the recent comics actually. There's one in the background, which is great. Like they're still around, which is awesome. And I think a cool way to sort of do this Sith in hiding story might be the whole bloodline storyline, essentially. The sort of like last of a dying, species that believes their species has this almost entitled power over the Force, and that they have more power than other people based on their connection to the ancient ways of the Force and the dark side, or whatever, the ancient Sith eternal, if you will, And so, like, to me, it like a cool way maybe to reintroduce the Sith, I think, would be to actually maybe bring in a sort of bloodline tale, a tale of a last of a bloodline type character that is a Skywalker-esque almost stand-in, but inverted,
right?
Yeah. Another major inversion that's essentially a Dark Lord that happens to be like a Skywalker, essentially.
Right, but like character. Parallel to maybe the actual like Sith line, like not like, oh, we need to reclaim our mantle of the Sith because we're a long line of
Because the Darth stuff feels so arcane and like from another time, right? Almost like
I mean,
like
I have a
Yeah.
I have a practical reason to not want it to be Darth Tenebris or Darth Plagueis, and I have to give credit where it's credit's due. I never look at any other Star Wars stuff, just because I want to have a fresh look at it with y'all and not have like other people's words in there. But I did Star Wars Explained is actually a great
Yes,
pod. It's a video pod. It's on YouTube. They're great. But I watched it and I was like, I'll never be able to unforget this. So I want to give credit where credit's due. I may have arrived at this or not, or maybe not. But he said like it'd be kind of lame to have Tenebris. Well, he said first of all, he did the math, and Plagueis would be about 14 when this is coming out. Like probably around 14 years old, so like kind of too young to be Plagueis. So Tenebris is a logical person to be the like lead Sith, but
right.
He's like, it would just be lame to have one of those two be it, because then it like takes all the like tension out of the thing, because they live, and it's like like you want to have a new combatant and something like that. So I mean, I would love to marry those two theories together, Grant, and be like, yes, there is this species. I love this idea. We've
As
been
much
talking
as I
about this
want
for
a
weeks
Sith
now.
Bith,
I'd love a Sith Bith,
which I do. I
mean,
want it.
Also,
I mean, last episode,
still may
Sith
get
Bith, yes, that's what I want.
Yeah.
But but like, this is like
you basically get maker status if you make it a Sith Bith. You basically are like, oh, well, you should tell Star Wars stories till the end of time, because you essentially honored like deep legends canon and then also paid it forward.
Yeah. So I mean, that's in this article too with Leslie. She loves legends and she loves all this stuff. We've been ignoring Jason for too long, and then Adam, of course, and he has something to say.
I'll bring it in. I just want to finish this idea of like I don't think it's an either or situation. We still might get a Sith Bith, just not the one
right
using the lightsaber. I mean, because the thing is, like, I agree they're kind of goofy, but I think if you mangle it,
and
up
it's mainly
enough
because it's just a giant prosthetic
horrific,
head.
you make it horrific enough, like you can make it pretty scary. You could actually make it to the point that people don't recognize that it's a Bith very easily, right? Like if you give them the vocoder and all the other stuff.
That's right, because Tenebris is pretty threatening with the vocoder.
It's pretty threatening when you see the illustrations.
Yeah, he always has the mask.
But I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm just not expecting. The other thing is just like, why are we assuming it's a Sith? Right? Like, just a red lightsaber makes a Sith not, or trying to speak, does not make a Sith necessarily, right? So it's definitely a dark side user. It might honestly be as straightforward as that is the acolyte, right? Like it might be like if we're using Octum's razor, right? So, but part of the issue is a lot of what's going around on the web is just like, well, a lot of people talk about not seeing Sith or not seeing, and that's the other thing that gets you through this thing of like the Jedi haven't seen a Sith in so many thousands of years.
The Ki-Adi-Mundi phrase that you have to actually honor.
Ki-Adi-Mundi putting us in a corner.
Ki-Adi-Mundi put a millennia
between. You have two options, and this brings Jason into this conversation. Brings two options. Option one is that's not a Sith; it's a dark side user who found a Sith lightsaber
or made a Sith lightsaber. Dagan Gera
made one.
Dagan Gera made one. He wasn't a Sith, right?
Right. Or every single one of those people that we saw have to die in that confrontation.
Yeah.
Those are your two options.
Right. Yeah.
Those are your two options. And that's Jason's just like the pretty dark, but he says the pretty dark but logical to maintain continuity is anyone who meets the acolyte probably has to die. If they identify themselves as an acolyte, as a Sith, if they just seem as a dark, I mean, we've seen dark side users. We've seen that happening. We can still do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they got their butt kicked in the trailer, off of one like force blast. Yeah. Like, and I don't remember any familiar faces.
You're saying that this killer would have to be covering their tracks by possibly killing Jedi to keep their identity unknown. Like, yes. I think they state that's happening in the trailer.
Yeah. That's gonna happen, but that's six there's pretty main characters in that lineup. Like that's gonna be a butchering. Like I don't know if you're gonna get that.
That would be
gonna
amazing.
Kill all of them. I mean, please.
So
This is essentially a murder mystery. How do we feel about that? That's what's
I was just about to say
intriguing.
that this article calls it a mystery thriller. So like
Yeah, it's
mystery
more of a thriller
meets
Perfect.
like
murder mystery.
like horror movie. Like right, let me just
Well, I
double
did
check.
hear
Yeah,
our
mystery
Thanksgiving
thriller.
one of her favorite movies. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be
Also explains why maybe you're talking to Ryan Johnson. You might be
Right.
talking to him honestly, less about Star Wars and more about
Agatha
mysteries.
Christie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely some Jedis who are being murdered. There's going to be crime scenes. There's going to be
sure.
investigations. And I have to imagine, but like again, it's so much
All
of
right,
Star
'cause here's
Wars
the
is
thing.
like
Hold on,
someone
hold on.
catches a red lightsaber. It's not a Sith. It's so much of Star Wars is to just rug pull just to rug pull.
Yeah.
I don't like that personally. I think Disney needs to. I think
a
Lucasfilm
trailer.
needs to commit to Sith at some point. They should commit. Like I don't understand when you commit to the Sith because the Sith is the next frontier of Star Wars storytelling, in my opinion. Is
You got to go way
Sith
back in the past.
have to be addressed. What better than to address a very ancient Sith now, who's the last of a dying race, or I guess, the last of a dying race, and then that sets up maybe the ancient context for them. It can then go back. You know what I mean? Like to me,
I love
that's
this.
perfect. To me, that's perfect.
I
don't want it now that I've thought of it because I want this to be unexpected. But I'm just saying, like something of that nature would be fantastic to me.
Great. Even if they gave you that, wouldn't you have said that was unexpected? Because there's no reason to expect them to do it, right? Like it's like I know I said it, but I wasn't expecting them to actually do it. No, but here's the thing, like I love this. I really do. And as a person who read all those comics, and I do love the ancient Sith species, and I wanted to bring that back. But like, here's my thought: is you cannot. I mean, I don't know. That's
but the commentary was bad when they wrote about it. Like,
about
you got to stuff. It didn't really deconstruct the flaws of being so self-absorbed about your power and eugenics and the darkness and the evil essentially that your people are committing. Like it didn't get into why that's all bad. Essentially, it just was like hierarchy and power and almost Game of Thronesian in a lot of ways, where it was just kind of grim and relishing in it. And I was
also
no, it needs to actually
the
comment
90s,
on why this is bad. You know what I mean? Like why trying to the bloodlines and managing lineages and things like that is evil and bad.
That was the 90s, right? That was happening in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. Comic books, the 90s, the comic books in the 90s were wild with that's like the era of like
they were
Rob Liefeld and all that stuff, or just like the grimmer the better, the more power the better.
Metal, metal. It was the age of metal, like big muscles,
so
rippling.
Age of Metal, big things, and so many pockets. So Ben's back. We can start talking about
comics. Get out of Marvel.
But what I was gonna say is the interesting thing is like, so what I'm thinking about is if you do this logical conclusion that like they do kill all the Jedi. Okay, now I'm getting like real into like murder things now. Well, I guess it's murder mysteries. Like, you then have to disappear all the bodies because if the Jedi found out 6 other Jedi were killed via lightsaber wounds,
I mean,
they'd probably be like, Sith? Like, are the Sith back? Like, we lost
after
1,000
years, though, or 900 years in this case.
But like, what else would you think killed them with
does
a
a
lightsaber?
Does a Jedi fade into the Force in this show?
Fade into the Force?
Is that a revelation in the later episodes of this initial season or something?
We don't know what happens Endgame High Republic. We think. I mean, listen, you can be a dark Jedi without being a Sith. You can be a.
No, I'm saying when you die as a Jedi, when do you sort of just fall into your robes and sort of disappear? Like, at what point do they discover that is what that can happen?
Qui-Gon? Post Qui-Gon?
Essentially, Qui-Gon. But
it's
as
Obi-Wan,
a storyteller,
really was the first one.
I really
right. It was that
Qui-Gon was cremated.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really.
Obi-Wan was the first.
I mean, everyone went into the Force, but it was like it seemed like the people that went cognizantly into the Force had their robes disappear. I mean, we're in weird territory right now.
I don't know.
I mean, because Ben Solo,
who was first to
like,
become one?
I don't know. But I mean, I know they burned Qui-Gon.
Let's not bring Ben Solo into this conversation.
well, listen,
Yeah.
why not? We burned.
We're going in the we're going in the past. We're not. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying Ben.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn was cremated. Like he was on a pyre, and like I don't know that anything disappeared there. There was nothing shown.
Well, he also was. You're right. That's the weird thing. Like he was straight up murdered. So like I feel like part of that is like he didn't have time to do it. Obi-Wan had that moment of actual like, here I go,
right?
You know, and then.
So do we think in this show that it
that's the canonical sound they make?
Yeah, I want to like overdub you being like, here I go, whoop, like over that scene.
Yeah. I feel like whenever Ben or I leave a chat or something, like we always put the Vader stomping on the robes like GIF at all times, like on a quick draw.
Oh man,
it's so it's like,
but yeah. So and then same thing like. I'm trying to think of all the people that we've seen become one with the Force. Leia does, right? But Leia's also given time.
Yeah, I mean everything
right,
post Obi-Wan.
Can I say there were 100
Solo?
Can I say there's 100% chance that one Jedi fades away in this series?
Sure.
All the other ones die. Like there are bodies, but like one will fade. Like
interesting. When no one else sees it, like so no one
exactly.
you could do it.
Wait, is that where you guys are right now? It's just like, well, if they're all murdered but they all disappear, how do you have any bodies to investigate? You're such like a
one will part of the murder. Like so, to like if he disappears or she disappears or they disappear, it changes how the murder mystery operates.
Right, because CSI doesn't exist.
Murder mystery in Star Wars, there's so many ways the Force can kind of interact with that murder mystery.
But that's you hit on something that's really interesting, great. Because let's say it happens. Let's say I don't know why I'm saying 6, but it looks like there's like around 6 Jedi.
I would have said 12.
Let's say.
Yeah,
maybe
whatever. Tree line when they're looking at the woods, there's like 8 Jedi. I was like,
all right, well, okay, so great. I'm gonna take the exact middle. Fine. So there's 8, but let's say that they slaughter it. They're the Sith or whatever slaughters all 8. Realizes I got to get rid of the bodies. Like I got to hide the evidence. Right. It goes around collecting bodies. I mean, you can't do this on television. It's so dark. But you're doing this, and then comes across one set of robes where there's no body. Like that would be kind of amazing, right? To be the Sith is the only one who ever saw like evidence of becoming one with the Force.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is like,
dude. Yes. Yes. We're breaking the story right now. We shouldn't be, but yes, oh my god, that's so interesting because it's also the basis of a lot of great pulp science fiction novels, like the Giants of Ganymede and stuff, where it's like you don't find a body, you find like the robes, right? Like it's instantly the most compelling part of the murder mystery is like you don't find enough evidence that you need to find the Sith because you've just found robes, but maybe this was a Jedi who's just well attuned to the Force.
But then the Sith is obsessed with this fact that what happened, how they become one with the Force, and then
did the Jedi achieve eternal life through this whatever they do here? Yeah,
right. The circle.
It almost becomes domino effect. Yeah.
You guys are deep down the rabbit hole. I love it. I just fact checked it. I count 8 lightsabers. So Grant was right.
Grant was spot on.
Spot on. I mean, listen, I mean, this was another thing I picked up on Star Wars Explained, but he was just like, there is evidence. It's just because you're holding a red lightsaber doesn't mean you're a Sith.
Okay, all right.
There's plenty of precedence there.
Disney's going to have to play the Sith card in the next 5 years, and what better than to start with the Acolyte as sort of like a, just the tease.
We're gonna.
But it's like. Tenebrous exists. I mean, they can retcon Tenebrous, which would carve my heart out of my chest. But okay.
Well, all I'm saying is we're going to hear about stories and tales of Sith and the bygone eras of the Sith and the ages past and all that sort of stuff. At some point in the show, I guarantee you 100% that the Acolyte is going to hear something about the Sith struggle and how that pertains to her own struggle and what's going on.
I would not be surprised. I think we're going to get the mirror image of lore, right? We're going to get a lot of Sith lore drops that are references and little comments that they could build upon. Like,
I hope so.
Again,
I mean,
I think I'm not talking about you're not going to get the whole thing here.
No, but enough to be like, it's the same thing. Like they're going to mention whatever this, the thing that sparked all of us when he said, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars, right? Like that's just like you're gonna get little lines like that you're like, tell me more, and then in 5 years there's gonna be a Sith show that takes place 5,000 years or whatever.
I I wonder. I was thinking. I had this thought the other day. Actually, it's probably unrelated to what we're talking about. But the Inquisitorius, like they're brothers and sisters, and we know that the Sith Brotherhood existed in the old canon, the old legends. Like did the
Okay.
Sith once have that exact same system of like numbered brothers and sisters essentially?
But
At
into
some
the
point?
thousands?
But into the thousands essentially. And is that
Yeah.
almost like mimicking? Is the story group and everyone who's involved with Rebels and Dave Filoni, are they just are they really kind of snuck a really fun idea into the canon that actually might play again if we do go back into the past and explore the Sith?
To the
Was that
Sith
actually, did
Wars
they
and the
actually
Sith
operate
Empire?
like the Inquisitorius essentially? Like, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
to me,
The Inquisitorius is like a mini Sith Empire.
yeah, because I know it was like the Sith Empire, and then there's
Yeah.
the Sith Brotherhood or whatever in the Legends comics or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to me, I was just like, well, that's there's kind of a male, centric thing to just calling it the Brotherhood. I don't like that. I think that I like that there's sisters and brothers and how the Inquisitorius operates, and I'm hoping that they both rename it, but they also sort of like mirror the Inquisitorius. That would be
Yeah.
so cool to me as like a fan. I'd be like, wow, that's so cool that like Palpatine set this up because he knew about the ancient Sith essentially.
Which
Yeah,
he totally
right, yeah.
would, right? Like he is well read,
Yeah.
and so like it makes sense that the Inquisitorius comes from before or is mirroring it. And the other thing is like from the behind the scenes blah blah thing that I always do with my brain standpoint, it makes sense because you did reintroduce them in Obi-Wan, so there is that idea of the
Mhm.
like live action. Like again, I always try to look through my wife's eyes. Like my wife is now aware of the Inquisitorius.
Yeah.
Great word.
It's-
Great.
Which is so
Wild.
weird to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean it could be true, when we saw it looked on Exegol, there were a bunch of acolytes and like Sith, Sith Eternal cultists and stuff. Like, yes, there are main Sith, but it's like is there a sub level that's existing, and is that what's going on? And it could be like them or these cultists or religious members, if you played Force Unleashed, it's like there were all these acolytes and all these cultists that were, force wielders and, swung red lightsabers.
Yeah.
Like, is she going to go that way? Leslie, like,
We'll talk about-
intimated,
I
like,
think
she's
this
going to
character-
canonize
yeah.
some wild stuff.
I
Yeah.
think the thing
love
we
it. I
haven't
mean, we're
seen
start-
yet is that we haven't seen someone.
Bothans. What?
Yes, that is like number one. That's actually
Andor
like
season 2.
That's
Don't worry
actually
about
every
it.
list we present of
Yeah.
most desired things to see in Star Wars. I think Bothans is like either 1 or 2. But
Right.
I feel like you should have top 10 lists every week, and number 1 is always Bothans, no matter what. the
like
top
Gary
10
Oldman
list
is a Bothan. Let's go.
Yeah,
Done.
I love it.
Hand out the
Um,
Emmy, the Golden Globe.
By the way, not motion captured.
Yeah.
Just make him up like a
Yeah.
What we haven't seen before
Wake
is
up.
the Jedis are just the villains of the story, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, we might be getting that.
yeah.
And for me, I think that's what I think this is in a lot of ways. And I have to think that like not that I mean, villains per se, they're villainous.
No, but
Antagonists,
antagonists, right? Antagonists. They're
But,
antagonists, right? Like they.
but
yeah,
like,
the
but
protagonists will
like,
be
but
the-
but
will be-
but then you have you
Yeah,
have to have
I
your
love it.
save the cat with the person you're following, who I imagine is the lead actress playing the titular sort of acolyte
Yeah.
character May. And I think that save the cat moment might be her abandonment. Like a Jedi might be so fearful that they abandon her to like
Yeah.
the darkness that's whatever's, and then sort of like an abandonment, honestly. Like
Yeah.
Well, which makes sense. You want to empathize and sympathize with that character, right? And so in order to do that, if she's against the Jedi, you have to at least understand her negative views towards the Jedi, right? And to some extent go along with it, right? And that makes sense. If you're going with that, I mean, that's always what we talk about. It's easy to sit there and kind of critique the Jedi and go against them. But I've always had this interesting discussion internally about the methods they use, right, to take kids away from parents, and I'm going to put them in a better situation and take them out of worse things and train them. And I was going to make an analogy that didn't seem. I'm going to drop it because I'm like that's probably not very thoughtful, and also might be a bit extreme.
darn,
But it's been by
Moving along.
I'll just I'll just say this has been on my mind because of watching the Reservation Dogs series, and I will say the one thing I thought of where I'm going to use the term because that's what they call it, but the Indian boarding schools where they took Native American children out of the tribe, put them there, and basically taught them English and tried to for their own good,
convert them
right?
to Catholicism, the whole nine.
Right now again,
Yeah.
extreme, not anywhere near the same thing, right? Because but like, you know, you kind of think about that if you frame it that way from this character's mentality or standpoint, there's something there, right? Like,
I mean, Grant, I wanted to talk to you about this because I know this is stuck in your craw for months now. It's just like you wanted to see, yes. You wanted the Jedi to have a moment where it was like, you know what, like the Jedi doctrine was right. It was like, yes, this all happened and they were fooled and did all the things.
In 10 years, in all the Star Wars stories that take place therein, the Jedi will be a net positive faction.
Right.
No matter
yes.
what happens in any story that takes place. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But it's not going to happen in this series, though, right?
I wonder. You know, I think we could do a wonderful, you know, Atlantic, you know, New Yorker article about that, or of like, is it worth sort of deconstructing the puzzle of an organization that will ultimately be viewed as heroic at the end of the day? I wonder. Because I almost wonder if this is just a fairy tale where these are just the good, you know, knights protecting the realm, and I wonder if we're just trying to make it more than that, and I don't know, and then when we do try to then do religious commentary in Star Wars, it's so mild that it should do this. Like, it's just if you don't want to go all in, I don't think we should just broach the surface level details of this stuff. We should actually go into sort of like, just sort of like religious sort of ideologies and how they can, you know, be misaligned and cause, you know, corrupt actions and cause wars and cause death and cause tribalism and cause, you know, famine and destruction and really get into maybe like, you know, the basically faith and religion and talk about the Sith and talk about I always thought the sequels would be all about sort of like something rising up around Luke Skywalker and then what that like deconstructing that thing. And I was like, this is what Star Wars could have been in a lot of ways, is sort of this big time religious commentary.
To have a fanaticism surrounding Luke would have been an amazing way to tell stories. Which I mean, to be honest, that is not out of the realm of possibilities.
It still happen.
That is something they could do. This they could do that, especially with
who.
But imagine if you wait. But imagine if you did this still around Luke. Super interesting commentary on the Star Wars fan base as well.
Yeah.
Because imagine if part of it is you have this cultish surrounding the legend of Luke Skywalker, who is now dead and can't speak for himself, which is, by the way, religious commentary.
Sure.
And then you have Rey having to deal with fighting these cultish Luke followers.
Yeah, you could do it.
like imagine that.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah. And you have the whole scale of the galaxy, which I like. I am going to be galaxy size police. Like, it needs to always be bigger. Like, it needs to always feel bigger.
It seems as if no one's heard of Luke, and then like the one lady in the desert heard Rey say her last name was Skywalker, and then like that's about it. Like, it doesn't seem like.
Well, and also her response seems to be like, okay,
no
cool.
one on Pasana was like wearing a Luke t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, there could be Luke cultists enveloping 20 planets in the
be
galaxy, and
it's
like
a thing that we kind of build into the canon. And
right,
sort
but
of
like in 3 million systems, like 20 planets doesn't mean anything. But it's like still 20 planets versus cultists, so it's significant.
Well, this is the sort of commentary that I think Star Wars is best to handle. Like, we did a lot of trade, politics, and taxation routes and all that sort of stuff in the prequels.
Yep.
I think now
we've done war commentary, we've done government commentary.
Yes, we already got that in. I think it's now religious commentary that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. And for me, it's like, Star Wars was inherently Buddhist, and I thought that I always thought Rey would have been a reincarnated almost character or something, and I thought they would pay it back to sort of those roots and pay tribute to Buddhism and do the whole thing essentially, instead of just taking bits and pieces. And there's lots of it.
Star Wars is good at anything, it's retconning things, so never say never.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that, man. You've talked about that for a long time.
Quite often. If you read the books, it's like the Letos all think they're the same Leto or whatever. It's like
or the Bene Gesserit having all the minds,
it's
all
very
the memories
simple to
inside
do,
their
and
brains.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not-
Yeah.
You don't have to, it doesn't take a lot of work to do. It doesn't
Yeah.
rob character
But you could
agency
have-
either at all. I just don't believe that
So-
like at all.
But think about this. So now in the Rey movie, you have her going around calling herself Rey Skywalker, right? Which is raising the name of Skywalker
Right.
back up into the
Mhm.
consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So and probably I would guess she's talking a lot about Luke because that's her father figure, her mentor. And then suddenly you have Luke truthers.
I
Right?
am picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
That's all I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right now, like
Because,
this
again,
is
it's
auto
commentary
green light.
on-
This is
on
auto green light
religion,
story.
Commentary on fan base, on
Yes.
toxicity.
It
On
actually
toxic
talks
fan
about
bases.
toxicity and obsession and parasocial obsession and sort of misguided faith, bad faith, essentially, and
Yeah.
and just the power of the people's willingness to fool themselves, and that
Mhm.
being so fascinating. People basically cling to this because they're afraid, essentially, of whatever. Maybe the galaxy is running amok, and the government's like, not fully formed yet, or reforming essentially after Hosnian Prime, and therefore there's a power vacuum and lots of crime, and the syndicates have risen back up and things like that. People are afraid, therefore people cling to religions, and they cling
Religion, yeah,
tribes
and
and
their religion, knowing
Yes.
they know the true truth.
Right. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It's actually
Yeah.
perfect. So the things you're setting up here actually make a lot of sense to me. And I thought the sequels were going to be kind of about that.
Right on.
But the sequels could be, and that's really, really inspiring and cool. But again, what you're saying with maybe what this show is doing, and why Leslie Headland says it's so unexpected, is because maybe it will be tackling a lot of these really deep themes and this commentary that we've all just been discussing for the last 15 minutes. Like we really, it's almost untapped, right? It's sitting there.
Yeah.
It's just super tapped. And George, in many, many interviews, has said, I created Star Wars as a method or means to comment on religion because it's so charged to talk about any religion, any real world religion. And so to do that in a science fiction space, in a space fantasy space, is so therapeutic and cathartic for society. And I think like we're really missing the ball if we're not getting there at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So
I
see.
I just have to say, I hope I am surprised. I hope this is not what we've been talking about. And we pride ourselves on taking all the angles, right? We look at this
we take
as deep as we
every
can.
single angle.
Yeah, and I love where you guys have gone. I mean, things I have not thought about at all, and that's why I love this podcast. And you just went right down there, and we'll see. We'll see. Like,
Well, I do
Ryan
love
Johnson
that
did
she
surprise us in a
yeah.
lot of ways. Like he paid an homage to what came before, and then he pushed it in new directions, and it was surprising at every turn. So I think Leslie may aspire to that, and we'll see how it goes. Like, hopefully it is. One thing I super love about her, and I know this is very I don't know, not like superficial is the word I'm looking for. It's superficial, but as soon as she got the gig, she got a tattoo on her writing hand of Ralph McQuarrie's concept art for Princess Leia. Hardcore.
Nice.
That is so hardcore. And
That's
I'm
great.
like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go. Let's go.
That's it's also ballsy considering how many people fall off of Star Wars
Yeah.
projects. So like she must have been real certain, but that's part of it is like she was real certain about the vision she had and making sure her vision was seen, right, and completed. To be like, because imagine if she got that gig, things went south like
like everyone else. I mean,
like, what's his
Gareth
name,
Edwards
style.
like had Tony Gilroy punch him up, and like
yeah.
the Lego brothers like got their thing taken away from them, and like it could have happened to any of them.
Yeah. Or Chris Trevorrow just got straight fired.
There's the ground
Ray
is
Solana.
paved with the names of high profile directors that have just been like fired by Kathleen.
And then having to look at your writing hand like every day
Listen,
for the rest of your life.
I
to
learned
be
this.
like,
that'd be-
man.
Yeah, at a very big institution,
Yeah,
I
but
learned
that's
this
what I
thing
love.
that was like the people that succeed, blast doors are for other people. The real ones find their way through the blast doors, and Leslie's just like, I'm going to be that person. Like, it doesn't matter. This is going to work.
No, it just shows her confidence in it, right? Which is key. And so that's
can I say what
I
I
love
love
that.
about
Like
Leslie
that's so
Headland?
exciting.
Yes.
That she, much like me, got her start with Star Wars from the special
The
editions.
special editions! Yeah.
That's where she jumped in, and that's where I jumped in, and
Yeah.
I saw the special editions in theaters, and was
That
blown
is
away.
also
Yeah.
which is great. Like again, in a lot of ways, like seeing him in the theater is more legit than anything I've ever done. Right? My way was fully on ABC Sunday night movie special, like probably right, like interrupted
Man,
by.
I remember when those came
multiple-
out. My brother and
whatever.
I were like so stoked. We just like ran out. We
Nice.
saw them
Yeah.
all, and it was like,
Yeah, they were in theaters, and then the
Damn.
VHSs came out, and
Yep.
the gold cases. I still remember them.
Yeah, I think I still have them
I-
somewhere up in my attic.
Yep, they're beautiful VHS cases.
I used
honestly.
to. I mean, I ran them out when I was working in the video store because I literally would play.
Right?
them
Yeah,
on
you literally did. Yeah,
Not even
literally.
kidding. Yeah, literally, that's all I was ever playing. Like the mini docs at the very beginning of those are the things that like I
Mhm.
remember most of just like George Lucas talking about the colors of all the movies. Like just like talking about like there's gray.
I
in the
love when
first
he gets
one,
real
and
abstract,
yellow,
like
and green, and
slash
yeah.
abstract.
Yeah.
I mean, should we also? I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? We should let our listeners know we're doing the May
Yes.
4th
Man, marathon.
Yeah.
24-hour
I am
marathon.
so
Yeah.
excited about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to,
I'm gonna try
I'm
and
very
finish some
excited.
Star Wars
I-
Unlimited before, and then do that in the evening. Or what are we doing that all day? Is that essentially an all day?
It's
thing?
overnight. It's a red eye.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
overnight.
okay.
It's
It
8
starts
to
at
8.
PM, and it's
Yeah, that's
8 p.m.
incredible.
8 p.m.
Yeah,
to
it's gonna be
8
a
p.m.
Star Wars filled day. It's just
24 hours of
yeah.
popcorn and Star Wars. I mean,
Also, Grant, bring your Unlimited because there's gonna be
Yes,
breaks between
yes.
movies. There's other Star Wars nerds
Oh,
there. I'm sure you
yes.
can break into an Unlimited game with people. I'm
Yeah.
sure other people
I'm
have brought
sure
their
they
Unlimited
have.
cards.
I've already taken part in many games
Like,
so far. It's so much
so
fun.
nice.
I
Love this card game.
I used to do the Best Picture showcase, the Best Picture marathon, and the amount of like just movie nerdom that happens there is amazing. And I cannot imagine. Again, it's not just gonna be us. We're gonna be in a theater full of people who decided to watch 24 hours
Yeah.
of Star Wars. These are our
these are our people.
Like, it's
I
gonna
know
be
we
a-
should
We're
get
gonna
more koozies
So
made.
loud in the theaters, though. I feel bad. Like we are gonna be raving. I will.
I'm so excited. So I'm weirdly, I think I'm most excited about seeing the prequels in again. Isn't
That
that,
is
weird? Isn't that
interesting.
interesting? Like I think that's what I'm most excited about. I don't know
am-
why.
I mean, I love the prequels, man, and like as I like just the Phantom Menace warms my heart, but like I'm there for A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
I cannot.
It's
wait
gonna
to see
happen
those
at
two, but I
8 in the
cannot
morning.
wait
Yeah,
to
A
see
New
those
Hope.
two
A
in
New Hope is
theater.
gonna be really special for me because I did not see that one in.
Yeah.
theater.
Oh, I texted a little bit. I'm gonna cry so hard at episode 9, and it's not because necessarily like it makes me cry, but there are because
I'll be
like,
outside playing
there are
Unlimited.
multiple. There, there are so many cry moments in episode 9, and then you
Yeah.
add sleep deprivation and like 24 hours of watching it. Like when they say there are more of us than they are them, you're gonna hear active like man sobbing
Yeah.
next to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even be
Let's go.
quiet. It's gonna be like soul shaking, deep
You
breath.
saying you're excited
Can't
for
breathe,
9?
cry.
It's just I just need to be there for it, just to see what really
I'm
happens.
excited to watch 9 after having not slept for probably
Yeah.
36 hours. That's
No,
what
I'm gonna have to
excited about.
sleep
Okay.
like leading up. All right, we're getting
That
ahead of
movie
ourselves.
is like a fever
I
dream,
plan-
so it's
I plan
perfect
to
that we
take a
see it when
good
we're
3-hour
our-
nap on
our,
Friday.
mental capacity is spent.
All right,
But we'll have to do just real quick. We'll have to do something with the pod. Maybe we could do
Oh,
some quick
punch-ins? Yeah.
video posts
I think a New Hope reaction,
little-
like New Hope in
little punch-
theaters,
on our little reactions on our phones and post it up.
turns
to
out
the
New
YouTube.
Hope, good
It's
movie.
just tears. It's just tears. It's like I just saw those.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll figure it out. I don't want to do a Bad Batch a disservice. I could
Oh,
speak
yeah.
for
No,
2
let's do
hours
it.
just on this article because I'm like, Headland is
I
a
know.
real G.
We're excited
and I
for
love
the
her.
Acolyte. We're excited for
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you've been talking about it, but yo, like Bad Batch has taken a jump.
Yes. Let's go to
Continues
bad
to
territory
amaze.
right now. Let's
Bad
do it.
territory. So again, we're two episodes behind on this. So if you saw last week's episode, good for you. And I don't know what coverage is going on in Bad Batch, but here we are. We're here for this because like I love Bad Batch, but I've been sort of mid on it coming in. I'm like, okay. Like I don't know. Maybe it's where I am in my headspace. I don't know. But like this Bad Territory was like, okay, I'm back. I'm like, let's go. Let's do some things. It just like the vibe of this was such a good episode. So this is last week's episode 8. Bad Territory. They're trying to figure out what an M count is.
What is M count?
Like, what is
Yeah.
is this an M
right.
count?
Is this even M count?
Can I? Okay, since we're talking M count, we're gonna treat these 2 episodes separately, but I got to do it now. So they like M count. And I was literally watching the next episode, and we'll talk about it. But they're like, I'm like, are they allergic to the word midichlorian? Are they never gonna say midichlorian? And then finally, someone says midichlorian.
Wait,
I'm like,
says midichlorian?
I like
says
raise my
midichlorian?
arms up. My wife, Asajj
Does she?
Ventress says midichlorians.
Does she?
I guarantee she does. I watched
says
it
it one
15
time, right? She
Well,
says it
an hour
once.
after,
Nice.
and I know it because my wife looked at me
Yeah,
like
I
I was
don't-
insane because she was watching something and I was watching it on my iPad. And I literally went,
Midichlorians.
I raised my arms. But I'm like,
You did
there's
the Leo
someone said
meme
midichlorians,
from-
and she just went,
Yeah.
Once a time.
and she just like stared at me, and I'm like, I said, don't worry about it. But like it was just like I had an amazing reaction out of like,
Yeah.
not even I care. I don't particularly like the idea of midichlorians, but like to hear someone finally
Yeah.
say it in new canon was
Yeah.
kind of amazing.
Of course, it would be a
Yeah, I'll
size.
take
too.
midichlorians over
So
M
anyway.
count any day of the week, honestly. But
Oh,
M count
yeah.
is cool because M count target sounds cool when they're like, so you know about the Empire's
I
M
like M
count
count.
targets or whatever. And it was like, I haven't done one of those in a long time. Like Fennec Shand.
Yeah. No,
This
she
is the
was
best
great.
Fennec Shand.
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
the best Fennec Shand
So good.
story and like just episode scenario
Maybe ever.
Like, yeah, ever. Like going to this
Yeah.
crazy like swamp
Can you
world and
imagine how
hunting this
young she is in this?
hunter.
Yeah.
You imagine how young she is in this? Because she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, she's just,
This-
just after the Clone Wars. Right? This is
right.
Just after
So
the Empire.
this is
Yeah.
like 39 years before we see her in like Boba Fett or
Yeah. Well, the problem is
Mandalorian.
you can't do the cartoon to live action math because if you start doing it with because you do it with her, you have to do it with what's her name, in Mandalorian season 3, Bo-Katan,
Bo-Katan.
and then your
Yeah.
brain just breaks. But no, it's very true.
There's they have great skincare routines. in the
Very
Galaxy
good. I
Far,
mean, that's
Far
true.
Away.
It's like we said, it's all about the back.
Yeah, because Bo-Katan's like 60 in the canon or
Yeah.
something, and it's like,
yeah.
what?
And Fennec is like similar to.
I will say she was so good in this, it almost made me want a Boba Fett season 2. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so good in this, but
I love how
yeah,
quiet
and
she
Ming-Na Wen
is and how reserved and like
Mhm.
confident.
Yeah, it was
but,
almost like,
quiet.
where's the Fennec Shand show? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
move
that's
over,
a good
Boba?
question. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's almost like I could just watch her and her sweet freaking freighter or whatever her starship. Like that thing is awesome. Like her ship is, I think, one of my favorite ship designs.
I'm sorry, you just said Boba
seen.
Fett and it made me think, Dad, we're gonna see Dad Tanwe is here on a big screen again. It's just
Yeah.
gonna happen in a
I know,
giant
I'm
theater.
gonna cry.
All right,
I'll
moving
cry.
on.
Wait,
Moving
Attack
on.
of the Clones is. I'm not ready for Attack of the Clones. I'm gonna be
Sorry.
so hyped for that one.
So hyped for
specifically.
that one.
Like that is the one.
Extra
honestly.
gummy for AOTC.
Look at my list, guys. I feel like I feel like I'm high.
Ben, we're gonna
Attack of the
talk.
Clones.
I'm gonna be loaded for bear, Adam. Don't worry about it.
All right, that may be the time for me to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just such good stuff. I mean, so there's that going on. So they're searching
Wait,
for the Anko.
Silas Saris, this bounty hunter, this
Oh,
target,
Siler Slaris, the
Is he,
Slayer
like,
of Ardo
all-
Eris.
draft pick. Yeah, next time we do a draft, is he like an all-timer pick for us?
Yo,
Yeah.
he's tough.
Like this guy took like 5 stun rays to like the back of the head and
Yeah.
still alive.
yeah,
Still
yeah. So I guess we went to the planet of Ordo Eris because he's Siler Slaris, the Slayer of Ordo Eris.
Yes.
I thought that was a person, but I guess that's a planet, right?
No, it is.
So-
It is a planet. Yeah. It's the
Yeah, I
one-
don't know.
yeah.
Maybe not. They didn't
I
name
was
the
like, who is
planet.
Ordo Eris?
Yeah, yeah. He killed this
this
one
up, like-
man, Ordo Eris.
Yeah.
I was like, he killed one.
Just
guy.
one dude.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a killer.
Who is-
Siler is for real.
He's a slippery mark.
anyone catch the Nope. What am I doing? Oh, anyone catch the Jedi Fallen Order connection?
No.
So the reason why he got in trouble is he killed 2 members of the Haxian.
Oh, the
brood.
Haxian brood.
Oh,
Yes, I
Haxian
did
brood.
catch
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
The ones, the ones that are chasing you down through all
Yeah,
of
no,
Jedi.
I have 4
that's right.
exclamation points after the 2 words Haxion brood in my
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
I mean, play the original Jedi Fallen Order and you will know what the Haxion brood's about.
Yeah.
And
Favorite moment of that game.
Yeah.
Can we jump into Kiner Corner real quick? Because like that scene where she's doing the debrief on Siler Saris, the music
Lit.
that plays
Lit.
that moment,
It's lit.
It is. It is.
it's on another level. Like it's
again,
just so good.
I
Like
think
it's Andor level.
it's very
Like
good.
it's so cool, contemporary,
Yeah.
ambient.
And like, to be fair, like, Lucasfilm's been churning out lists of like lo-fi Star Wars music a lot. Like, there's an 1.5-hour program where you can just babysit Sabine Wren's cat that I actually have on my TV a lot.
Yeah, it has like
I know it's
cool
good
music.
working. It's good for work.
And it's
Yeah.
vibing, and it's like, and it's Star Warsy, and it's lo-fi, and it's fun. And like, and also in Jedi Survivor, they had a bunch of people. It seems like it couldn't have all been the same like composer that made this. Like, different bands that have different songs, and you can play a jukebox and Survivor, and there's all these other songs that are there. And this is like in that vein, but it's very, very good.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. And yeah, I was vibing on that. And also, there was like a thing right at the beginning of episode 9. There was like this sound that happened like in the music. And it was like this is like, oh my gosh, is this music going to be epic? And then it just like sifts back down into the background as Kyler's music always does. But it was like, for a moment, it just popped right at the beginning of episode 9. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Well, it's not like full saga grandiosity, you know, like the
Yeah.
sagas films. It's not like John Williams. It's kind of like
Yeah, it's
tempered
light.
down
John Williams
slightly.
light,
Yeah.
you know? And I mean, that's the vibe that Filoni wants, and that's the vibe that he's going to
You
get.
still get the Bad Batch theme. It's like like you still get the Bad
Yeah.
Batch theme. It's like
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not
like
it's not
that-
front and center music. It's definitely like background score because it's an animation and they want you to, you got 25 minutes to tell a story. Like,
Yeah, and part of the issue is, a couple times in episode 9, I became aware of the music, which to me tends to indicate that it's not breaking through to me. If I'm like, you know what I mean? Like if suddenly, like, because I had the exact same moment. I think I knew exactly what you're talking about at the beginning of the episode. Where I'm like,
oh,
like,
it's
here we
going to
go.
be
And there
epic.
it kinda-
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounded great for a little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's great. He's doing the things.
Yeah.
You know.
They
it's
just
there.
won't let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like Ahsoka season
Well, I
2.
think it's just cut. It's just the pacing is slightly different in an animated show. So it's like
Yeah.
basically like the little motifs that just sound off, and then you go to the next thing
Yeah.
for the next scenario.
Yeah, it's so fast. Yeah, man, we got a gator fight. Foil boat. Do you guys are familiar with foil technology? That exists in America right now. It's like you put down this like fin that's sort of bent at a right angle, and it lifts you off the water, and you just like go faster. You just glide on a foil. That's what they were doing when they took off.
It's like windsurfing, kind of, right?
Yeah, but it's like elevated. It's like if you have an elevator on your thing. So it's just like all of your weight rests on one fin, and they do this in catamaran racing right now.
I've seen that, and I had no idea what that was, but that totally makes sense now. What you're saying, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
That was
It was very cool. It was like what is this? Are these aqua
Yeah.
speeders or are they speeder boats? Like, what do we call these in Star Wars?
it's
I think aqua speeders, honestly.
okay. Aqua speeders done. I love it. I
Cool.
like the sort of like the that the jet propulsion system was on the back.
Yes.
Of
I did like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
it
we
was
started up,
obligatory,
yeah.
like classic boat rudder
Yeah.
handle or whatever.
But it was like catamaran style, and I mean, all of it was just so great. Just like she's haggling with a like stupid pit droid, and like he folds immediately. And
she's like, get me a boat that
Yeah.
doesn't sink like the last time or something.
Yeah,
I was like, yes, and that was like every line written for Ming-Na Wen was so good in this that I was like,
good.
what was happening in Book of Boba Fett? Like, what is happening in Mando with her? Like, why doesn't she have her own show, and why isn't the writing as good as it was in this episode? Like, that's just my question at the end of this episode.
I
honestly.
will say this. I have a theory about what may be coming post Bad Batch season 3. But we'll talk more after the next episode.
Okay.
Oh, I also have a theory. I think the next episode is gonna give us space to talk about that stuff.
Sure. I think it's going to be a female buddy cop show, and I think I too know who the two leads are. But we'll talk more about that after the next episode. So one thing I was going to say too is I just was Googling around because I'm trying to figure out what what planet they were on because I love the
Yeah,
ecosystem of
I
that
didn't see the
planet.
name. I love it too.
Yeah, because Odo Eris is actually Ordo Eris is the space station that you're on in Jedi Fallen Order when you wake up.
Oh, no
That's the
kidding.
high.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
so that's where,
that's why
because he killed
that's why he's the
Haxion
sniper
Brood.
that he
Okay.
killed.
Okay.
But
Very cool.
I was gonna say that I do love the ecosystem. It
Yeah.
felt like swamp, where it felt like very
Swamp,
like
orange,
And-
murky,
Florida, like
yeah.
Everglades.
Yeah, because we'd been really light on Wrecker, and I love that Ming-Na Wen's like, and whatever your name is when she refers to Wrecker. I thought that was great.
Yep.
There's a lot of
Yep.
like great one-liners in there.
Yeah, she's great.
But we haven't had a good Wrecker episode where he actually gets to be strong and do strong stuff. So it's like we get full Gator
or be a
wrestling.
demolition. He's a demolitions expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to see him exercise that
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah,
So,
that was
it's cool.
this was a strong Wrecker episode, and we haven't had one of those
It was.
in a while.
Yeah, I think he suplexes a gator at one point.
He
too,
does
or
suplex a gator. That is
He
that is
does.
precedented.
Yeah.
Yeah, super great. I mean, so my thing with Fennec is I'm like, she'd be cooler if we saw her less. Like, I just think about the like Boba Fett quotient. It's like if she was more mysterious, she'd be like cooler because that's sort of what it is. But like, she's so great that it's like, okay, you're gonna play this card. She's gonna be a character that returns. Like, everyone can't be mysterious. But this is me
No.
being the galaxy size police. I'm like bigger. Like,
Yeah,
let's.
sure.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a million, bounty hunters? Why didn't we meet a new bounty hunter? Like, whatever, because it's a show and it's an animated series and, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But still, I do hope that the team, the story group and whatever is just like, let's just new character. Let's make this galaxy feel big. It'll make the times that we do callbacks or cameos like all that more.
Well, if you want new characters, Ben, you'll love the next episode.
Oh, no, we're burying the lead. I have to talk about one thing because the best part of this episode was not
Okay,
about
sorry.
Fennec Shan. It was about Crosshair's hand.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, y'all should,
Adam was right.
Adam was
just
right. So
psychosomatic.
there's some bow taking to be had here.
And it was explicit. It was like, this is explicitly just in your head. Calm down. Like,
Yeah.
they say it.
Thank you for saying that because I'm like I'm gonna wait to see if they say anything because I'm not gonna be the person who says, by the way, guys, I was right. But yeah.
Oh, I would have
No,
done that,
sorry.
but no, I would not overlook this, Adam. I have your name written down in my notes. I'm like, take a bow, Adam. Adam was like, what if it's all in his own head and somehow that escaped all of
The
us?
droid says that exactly verbatim.
Yeah. So thank you, Adam.
Yeah. Thanks,
welcome.
Adam.
You saw that coming from a mile away. Actually, we all get to take a few bows on this one.
Yeah.
Another one
Yeah.
is as we move forward that there's a potential for Omega to have the Force. I think both of you
Right.
guys-
So we need to
Perhaps.
talk.
Yep.
Wait. We don't even broach the
Well, no.
beginning of 9 though. We're talking about
think
10 to 9.
I think we can drift into 9 now because
Okay.
we mentioned. Yeah. I think that was the last thing was Crosshair's psychosomatic
first
thing.
note.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he takes
All
on
caps.
meditation. Okay, that was pretty much it. But it was psychosomatic.
Yes.
But yeah, here we are at 9. And you,
Ventress. Sorry. I had to burst out.
what did you say? Sorry, I missed
I
it.
just Ventress.
Ventress.
My first note was just all caps Ventress.
Yeah.
I know. I made a mistake.
As it
I
should
got an email from Star Wars today, and I was like, "Oh, this will be good because there might be some things that I missed that we can talk about on the pod." And the fucking thumb image was of Ventress,
I
and I was
know.
like,
I
"Oh
Ventress and her
man."
sweet hairdo. Well, you saw her in the
I
trailer.
know.
No,
I forgot
and,
actually.
and I knew where it was
We knew she
going.
was coming.
I knew
Oh,
what
it's
she was
check out
coming.
episode 9, The Harbinger.
See, because
Ventress returns.
with 8,
You're like, I haven't even
yeah.
watched yet.
all through 8, I was
Same.
like, "Oh, it's gonna be Ventress." I'm like, "We haven't seen Ventress. Is it gonna be Ventress?" Like the whole episode. That's what I was thinking. So it's like whatever. But then I was like, that wasn't the way I wanted to find out.
And Fennec calls someone at the end of 8. At the end of that episode, she sends out a transmission to
which we assume is Ventress,
yeah.
right? Because
I
it's-
assumed
it's
it was
gotta be.
Ventress, but
Yeah.
still, I didn't want to see
Yeah.
it in a thumbnail. I wanted to see it in the
No,
episode.
But
very
what's a
similar.
mystery?
I
What's a
actually went on
mystery is
social media
Ventress's
today.
motivations, essentially. So, like, we'll get into that as we talk about 9.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I cannot wait to talk about that with you guys because I feel like something's a brewing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Something is a brewing.
Something's a brewing, but I don't know if it's a brewing in this series.
No, I don't
I
think it's
think-
gonna.
yeah,
brew-
I think
I don't think
some
you're gonna get the
in the
cup, the final
entrance
cup
in
of
the Bad
coffee
Batch.
in the series. But like,
what's the
Something.
cup of coffee there, friendo? What are you thinking?
I mean, I don't want to jump into theorizing right away. I
Okay.
just want to maybe jump into the episode first. But like, there are hints here that like Ventress is breaking good, and that Ventress is possibly just hates the Empire more than anything, and therefore will do anything to sabotage the sort of the hunting of Force sensitives.
Yes.
And that seems to be
She's
major,
the
but almost
anti-Inquisitorius.
yes,
So-
and essentially it's very subtextual in this episode, though. It's really not remarked upon at all, which I thought was so tasteful. I thought it was so tasteful in how they kind of kept her motivations somewhat secret throughout the episode. And and I have to think that, I don't know. I mean, could she start the path? You know what I mean? Like, could she be a part of that at some point?
Yes.
Are we going to see origins?
Well, we know
of that?
Quinlan Voss is part of the past. Her old beau.
That's
right?
That's where I'm going with all this.
Yep,
That's where
exactly.
that's where this whole thing's going, right? Is
So-
like, does she help Quinlan? Are they both like these vigilante, do-gooders who protect all the Force sensitives who are being hunted? Yes. To me, that's beautiful and poetic, and
which
I'm
we will see in 2025.
But at the
when
end of this
new animated series
what's
comes
the
Oh,
out.
last
that's your
episode?
duo. Okay.
Because here's the thing.
What's the name of the last episode in this season, though?
I don't know. But hold
Here
on.
comes
Let
the
me look.
cavalry.
Yeah.
Who is the
Here comes
cavalry?
Cavalry.
Who is
The Cavalry, I don't know. But
I mean,
it could
Quinlan
be,
Voss
the
and
past.
Asajj Ventress.
Yeah,
that's
Quinlan
the,
Voss is the cavalry.
that's the cavalry.
Go.
Yeah, because
So amped.
here's the thing, like, so StarWars.com released an interview with Corbett, Jennifer Corbett, who is the co-creator, basically the showrunner of she's the one who does the Bad Batch, right? As much as it's
Right,
Filoni,
yeah,
I think Filoni is
right.
doing other stuff.
Yeah,
and
'cause
she's just kinda doing
stepped
it.
away to do other things.
And here's a direct quote: "How she survived will be revealed in future content."
Ah, okay.
That's what she said. But for
Yeah.
this story, we were thrilled to include her and explore her unique connection to and compassion for Omega. That screams to me spin-off talk.
Yes.
Like, that is the thing, is like, there's also not been an animated series going. Like there's always an animated series going.
Yeah.
Right? Almost always. And so, like, it's not to me like the Bad Batch is done and then no more animation. It feels to me like end of the Mandalorian season 2 and like Book of Boba Fett coming in January 2020, whatever. Like, I have a feeling the end of the series ends with like whatever the name of the thing is, and it's Asajj Ventress and Shennik Fand, buddy cop together, starting the path with Quinlan Voss. Like, that's gonna be the thing.
Let's
Fighting
go.
the good fight. Like, that's
Let's
gonna be
go.
the animated
Yeah.
series.
That sounds
is my
incredible to
guess.
me. That's
That would
something I
be
could rev my
incredible.
fist for.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy for.
Yeah, that would be insane because she's so great. And the whole episode I was waiting for, like, I'm like, are we going to talk about any of the stuff that all of us know about, all of our listeners know about, right? Like, I assume all our listeners have read Dark Disciple, like, or at least know it exists. And then it's like, and I'm like waiting for some nod, but at the end she was just like, I have plenty more lives, or like,
Yep, lives plural.
lives plural. And I was like, okay, so
Which is
that's insinuating to me
weird.
that she lived and she's not a clone, because the whole time I was like, is she
Or-
as strong as she
I've
was?
got a few more lives, I think.
Or is it insinuating that she is a clone and knows she can be cloned
again.
again?
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I thought about that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is that what lives plural means? Here's
Well, I
another
think it's
way
just commentary that she died in Dark Disciple
so.
and there's a
I-
retcon,
yeah.
essentially.
I think
That's
it's
the
true.
cheeky
Yeah.
joke there.
Yeah.
I'm backing off on my clone theory at this point.
Yeah. It meant more to
I
me.
will
that
say-
was, it felt like more like,
I-
yes,
I-
if she
I-
knows
we
she
should talk-
died,
we
she's
should
not
say-
a clone,
Yeah, I would.
So
prefer that.
this episode, it's Wednesday. It's like halfway through Wednesday. It's almost noon or whatever. And then Adam texts Luke
Oh,
with
right.
two U's on text,
Well-
all of us. And I'm like,
I know.
do we get to see
I
what's
know.
in the vat in this episode? That episode's called Heart.
I'm so
Well,
sorry.
that
what
did
happened-
occur to me.
laughed.
I thought, I'm like, is she Project Necromancer for a second?
I saw that.
So-
and then Adam's like, no. You want to specify what?
So let me back this up. So what I had earlier that day, because I was like, I'm not gonna watch Bad Batch until Thursday, so I wasn't even thinking it's Wednesday, and so I got this like other thing on social media about the fact that like Hasbro is releasing their Last Command, Timothy Zahn 4-pack Black Series, which has Luke,
Yeah.
Seabath, and Mara Jade. And so
Beautiful.
everyone knows, anyone who's listened to the podcast or my friends know, I'm obsessed with Luke. It's like my
Got
favorite
it.
pull.
They knew you were out there, Adam. They made it just
This is
for you.
for
No,
you.
honest to God. And so I shared the link to the announcement and then Do As You Do wrote Luke, but I like a half an hour later I looked at my phone and it's just like message did not go through. So I realized the only thing that went through was Luke. And then Grant talked back like,
We're all
and I'm
just
like, oh no, I'm completely
Do you know who you're talking to right now? I'm over
About
here like
that
Charlie Day.
I kind of love that it happened, but what are the
You
odds?
just
that,
blew
the
up
first time-
Grant's whole day with that.
I know.
My whole day was ruined by that. I was
He's
like,
like-
I gotta go home and
like-
get the corkboard.
Getting in accidents trying to watch Bad Batch. The other, do you want to hear another tinfoil hattie thing I have going on? Is that just this week, during one of many Comic Cons, Ewan McGregor was asked, and he's like, "You have not. I don't think you've seen the last of me playing Obi-Wan."
Oh,
He has come out and said that, and I'm like, so now you have Asajj Ventress alive,
Yep.
and the possibility that she helped start the path. And can you imagine, whether it's in cartoon or live action, like to me, imagine if you had a live action Obi-Wan beating Asajj Ventress, who these two people fought
all the time,
throughout,
and now they're allies.
all the time, and now they're allies. Like that would be amazing.
Oh, I
You
can't.
could never match the energy from the animation though between them two. Like that
Yes,
energy.
yes, it would.
Probably have to
My
rated
heart is
R.
soaring just thinking of that.
Have to smash. Like, they have to bone down, right?
Yeah, there was like sexual chemistry. I guess everyone has sexual chemistry with Obi-Wan, though. I gotta say.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
I like really like.
Yeah, it's
couch-
I myself. am one.
Even the mullet, you know.
Yeah.
I know.
The mullet, I mean,
The-
that's Attack of the Clones is
What is
like
the best Obi-Wan? We're gonna see that mullet
In
in
glorious.
in like IMAX.
like movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, a great episode. Super fun. Did any of you guys cry during this episode? Because I did.
No, what'd you cry about?
So,
the squid?
I love it.
Did you cry during the squid? The touching that tooth or whatever?
Oh yeah. No, the boop when she was
pretty
like-
amazing, yeah.
boop on the squid.
She pooped the
Boop.
tooth.
I loved that. No, it was back when they're all talking about like, can we trust Asajj, blah blah blah, and like you have Omega being awesome as she always is, like just being like,
Yep.
like
The
no,
heart.
like I don't think she's bad. Like I looked at her, she has kind eyes, like blah blah blah, and like Crosshair is like, you know, like oh no, she's blah blah bad, blah blah blah, and she's like, I never gave up on you, did I? And he's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Which is that did catch me, and the super amazing part is at the very end when they fight off the Kraken.
Yeah,
we're just calling
the
it a
Kraken.
Kraken, right?
The turtle Kraken.
It's a Kraken. That like Crosshair. I mean, they shoot it, but Crosshair holds his arm out to Asajj, right? Like it's a very nice
Yeah.
moment of just like, again, that's what Omega
Yeah.
does. Like Omega, like is the healer of everyone in terms
Yeah,
of
and
that.
she's like,
Like,
I
it's
look
just-
at your soul
Yeah.
and I see you're a good person, and
Yep.
that you shouldn't be judged on your past transgressions.
Yeah.
And it's just, she's very kind and she's very lovely. And you know, I don't know, maybe she'll be force sensitive, maybe she won't. They left it very ambiguous.
very ambiguous.
And-
I still
that's
think
the
it's that
fun,
she
right?
has.
That at the end there, where
Yeah.
it was like, is Asajj lying? And the Bad Batch thinks she's lying and all stuff. But like,
And I love it about I am. She basically says I am, but about what?
Right, I loved that.
I love that. It's a great line.
Very
I'm just
meta.
like, well, yeah, I was lying, but I'm not going to tell you about
Yeah.
what.
And she's like, well, if she is force sensitive, that means you'll have to let go of her. So are you prepared to do that, knowing full well they're not? And but so this is when I'll take my bow. Thank me very much. We got Asajj as a mentor for Omega for a minute, and we might get
yes.
it again.
Well
yeah.
done. Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
where I got sort of emotionally choked up a little bit, where I was just like, this woman is trying to teach this little girl about this spiritualism, and these guys are just constantly getting in the way. And it was like, I
Yeah.
was annoyed by that. I was like, really, like,
Yes.
I was flustered
Yeah.
by that, and I was very emotional about that. I was like, can you just let Asajj, like, this is good for both Asajj and Omega, and like just let this, go ahead, because I feel that was just bothersome to me. And then also, like, it was just touching that just to see Asajj take that sort of a role in this show,
Yeah,
rather than just being like
Yeah.
a sniveling villain who's trying to kill everyone all the time. I was just like, this is actually really incredible stuff. But obviously the Bad Batch are these overprotective parents who don't understand this character's past.
They're Labrador retrievers that are
audience,
like,
I think for the audience is so effective.
But
And I just wonder if
like
you guys
said.
had that same
Yes,
feeling watching
but
the episode. Just let her teach this kid because it's beautiful. And what the hell?
So
like leave them alone.
But they're just
so
dumb warriors. They don't know what they're doing. They're just like, we protect. They're dogs.
Yeah.
They're Labrador retrievers, just being like, no.
They really are loud. So true.
They are. Let's play the title game for a second, and I'll give you my theory first because it kind of pertains to this. Is like, what is the harbinger, right? So, or I had a friend who Ben, who was Jenna, just for background.
Oh, nice.
Who we were talking one day, and she goes, I had like something that said harbinger on it, and she says, why does that say harbinger? And I'm like, excuse me? She says, harbinger, and I felt to this day it's still an inside joke because she'll say it and I'll laugh for like an hour long because Jenna is like one of the smartest people I know in the world, and anytime I could catch her at like not being smart was one of my favorite things. And it's just like she's like, I don't know, I've only read the word, I've never heard it out loud.
Oh,
and like,
Jenna,
right? But it's one of those things like you totally think about it, but like anyway. So
I was
every
just
time I see
listening to
Harbinger,
her beautiful singing today, actually, on my 2-hour drive home.
very nice. I always think of Harbinger whenever I see Harbinger. Sorry, Jenna.
Sorry, Jenna. I'm sure she's listening to every episode.
So there's a lot of theories about what's a harbinger, right? Like it is referring to or it is hinting at something to come in the future. It's
almost like a bringer of different paradigm or something, right?
Hope,
and so
possibly.
I don't know what the definition is, but
I think Omega's constant insistence in this episode of "Leave me alone, dads," is a harbinger to how the whole series ends, which is the Bad Batch saying goodbye
to Omega because she has to grow up.
Yeah,
and
she has to.
I mean, they mentioned that she's like actually physically older than they are, which is funny.
You have to do a Finding Nemo moment with Hunter at the very end or something.
Yeah. And then she has to grow beyond. And I mean, I mean, if I want to add to your guys' dream team here, I mean, Omega, Asajj Ventress, Quinlan Voss, and Fennec Shan. I mean, and maybe it's not. I mean, Fennec Shan.
Create and monitor.
I will take Asajj.
But doesn't that seem like an Omega?
So can I go the opposite way and say that Harbinger is going to be possibly there's a dark context to it, or like
there generally is,
evil context to it? Because so that's it, Adam. That's what I'm trying to hone in on. The word harbinger is usually like harbinger of doom. Is often a phrase you've heard oftentimes attached to that word. And so I think that the Empire does get what they need from Omega, and it does make possible what we see in the sequel trilogy, Snoke and Palpatine and what happens there. I think the only way that happens is with her and Grogu and like these certain characters that we see along the way. I think these actually quintessential
the harbinger of the Emperor's return.
Exactly, the harbinger of the Emperor's return. That's sort of.
The other theory in line is the harbinger of Pabu's destruction, ultimate destruction, which I think is also coming.
Yeah. She's like, you need to leave here because everyone's going to be like, if I can find you.
And they're not going to. I don't think they are. And I think it's going to lead to some bad times.
Yeah.
That's why we're having our last drinks tonight and we're leaving. For our first transport out of here.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I've got this great little cantina out on Ordu Minor. It's hardly any murders there. It'll be great.
Again, episode 14 is called Flash Strike, let's just say.
No.
But next week, and I'm not saying this move is long, but I just was noticing this. Next week's we got another two-header.
Oh, we do? A double-header? Really?
Yeah. Great. Identity Crisis and Point of No Return. And boy, is that ever a title for kind of the beginning of the end of a series, right?
Yeah.
Is
Point of No Return. Wow, that's going to be a lot.
And then we got 4 episodes after that, so I feel like we are starting to enter the end game of this, or we will be after next week.
Oh, man, excited about that. When are we going to cover the High Republic? There's a book that's been out for a minute right now that I started to read and then I haven't read for a couple weeks. But
do you want to?
Jango Fett? That first issue of Jango Fett was so good. Ethan Sachs crushed the first. Just this arc. Mace Windu. We have Mace Windu and Jango Fett. Maybe we split that up in an episode and we do Mace Windu and Jango Fett.
They're short series though, right? They're like 4 issues.
I think maybe we wait till the miniseries is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good Star Wars out right
so
now.
I mean, we did 2 tonight, right? We did 2 major topics. I think we're safe from. I don't think we're gonna get any big reveals of anything between now and Acolyte. Like I think the shop is closed in terms of like.
Yes.
Though
In terms of like it's all Acolyte.
Have you noticed it was like a massive push by Disney lately? They did a Empire State Building takeover.
Yeah,
and they had
with Hayden Christensen. Like
yeah, and they had Darth Vader on the Empire State Building. Like I don't know, they've been pushing a lot trying to get Star Wars back into the zeitgeist, and it's just kind of interesting that that's happened to me.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
what's the next Hayden project going to be?
Right?
Ahsoka
season 2.
Yeah, Ahsoka season. Yeah. Ahsoka season 2.
Oh yeah, right. Ahsoka season 2.
So
which hasn't been announced yet, but I'm announcing it.
No, but they said it's in production.
Is it?
Remember that was one of the that's one of the things where they had. Okay. I was thinking about that earlier. It kind of
slipped. What if like the Emperor creates like a force shield for the known galaxy, so like his spirit can't enter that area or something, and like, because like, why wasn't he there in the sequels? You know, like in people's minds.
He is technically one of the voices that that Rey hears.
You're talking about
at the very
Hayden,
end.
or you're talking about Sidious?
Oh wait, who are we talking about? What now?
I'm talking about Vader.
Vader.
Oh yeah, he was
there.
there.
We hear Hayden's voice.
She hears Hayden's voice. He's he's there for Rey. I think there's bigger and better things to come for Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker in the extended universe and Howard.
No, I really do think that Obi-Wan was a soft test to see how Hayden would do. To be honest, I think they were like, let's test him out. He's been doing like Canadian romance movies for the last couple of years. Let's see how he's doing on the big screen. And then I think they were like, this is great. Let's get him in Ahsoka. And he was gangbusters in Ahsoka. And I think there's so much love for him that I think they're going to figure out ways to put him in as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Yep.
Back to scheduling stuff. So I think next week we should do a doubleheader of let's cover Bad Batch and the 2 High Republic books. One is that junior novel, so that'll take all of an hour to read.
Okay.
And then the Defy the Storm. The reason I'm saying that is because in 2 weeks or about 10 days, the Living Force novel comes out. And that's the big has been getting a ton of buzz. Like it's ton of like, so they just removed the embargo for comments and reviews on that. And the internet's kind of blown up about what's going on with that book. So we might want to cover that sooner rather than later, but I think we should get to the High Republic before we do that. So how are we feeling? I mean, we're doing this on air. We're doing it live. So I'm putting you in a bit of a corner, but how do we feel about it?
No, let's do it. Well, we can
do High Republic. We can do it.
I want to for sure.
I'll be in Florida, but we'll figure that out off air.
Yeah, we'll figure out timing, but yeah. Well, I mean, if we push it towards the weekend, that gives us, 10 days.
Yeah, I'm gone all weekend, so we'll figure that out off air.
We'll figure it out off air.
If it's you guys, I'm sure you'll do a great job.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But you can't go back to Pabu.
I know. I'm gonna go to Pabu.
Florida.
Yeah. But yeah, word, man. I love it.
Yeah, but next week we're gonna do a lot of stuff. Obviously, Bad Batch. Definitely come back. Listen to us for Bad Batch coverage. I feel like we talked more about the Acolyte than most other news podcasts I listen to, and sort of
in
culture
a deeper
podcasts.
way for sure. Yeah,
we went deeper than I was expecting.
We went deep, and we went in a lot of directions, and I think we gave a lot of praise, and then we talked a lot about possible lore and what could unfold there, which was so cool because I don't really get that lens on Star Wars. I usually get the here's Star Wars as it's one
it's very
category on its own with its crazy fan base, and it's nice to kind of get into the weeds in Star Wars because it's I just love storytelling, and I think that it's fun to promote these sort of things rather than sort of like the metrics behind what are successful stories and talking about all
Right,
stories as different categories and as if they compete against each other, which is it's sort of a lot of the things I listen to. And so it's nice to actually talk about one story and really get into that landscape and really talk about the nitty gritty details. And so happy I can do that with you guys every week. It's great stuff.
No, it's
us
awesome.
too. Love it.
Yep, favorite part of the week, man.
Agreed.
Oh my gosh, I just like choked on my own breath. Other than that, everything's good here. How are you?
Everything's fine here. Fine here.
Situation normal.
Situation normal. How are you?
Wait, when that moment happens, guys, I am going to weep. Like these certain moments.
I'm gonna laugh so loud. This is like my favorite joke in all of Star Wars. My favorite comedy moment of all of Star Wars is that moment.
It's so
I know
great.
all these things that I
How are
say
you?
view as comedic. I'm just gonna get so emotional over because they're just so.
We're just gonna be just crying our eyes out. Everyone's gonna be like,
Yeah.
"What's wrong with those guys?"
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
let's be honest.
beautiful.
Let's be honest. We're gonna get kicked out halfway
Jedi
through
rocks.
episode 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Those guys are crying.
I know when we're pumping our fists standing up in Attack of the Clones, they're gonna be like, "You need to leave."
And just stopping and yelling.
Yeah, we're getting escorted out for Attack of the Clones.
Oh my gosh.
The night was going great until about 2 a.m. when we had to leave Attack of the Clones.
Some exuberant fans. Yeah, awesome. Can't wait for that with you guys. I can't believe we're doing it. I'm just so excited.
Great.
Yeah, awesome. All right, next week we're going to talk about so many great things with Star Wars. It's awesome. It's a deluge of awesome. And yeah, looking forward to it. We'll get yourself a drink for that and saddle up, and we'll talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles.